Where do I even start at this point? Around a week ago, I made a video titled, Why Edge of Fate Failed. And somehow, within the time frame of 1 week, the DLC got infinitely worse. I don't even know how that's possible, but Bungie made it happen. And for those of you sitting there right now talking about, oh man, just another YouTuber complaining about the game, boo-hoo, he's complaining for views, whatever. I'm really not, if I'm being honest. If you read the TWID, you know exactly what I'm talking about. And you know that when Edge of Fate dropped, there were a lot of core issues. I mean, there still are with the game right now. And we were asking Bungie to fix a lot of these things, like, solo ops being the main avenue to hit 450. We were saying, other things need to be brought up to, be able to compete with solo ops so you can get rewarded while playing Destiny, with your friends or, doing harder activities rather than just mindlessly doing Lost Sector after Lost Sector. But somehow, after hearing all that feedback, you guys want to know what Bungie did about the solo ops problem? Instead of bringing everything else up like people were saying, they decided to nerf solo ops. That is not a joke. I mean, you guys can look at this right here. Solo ops bonuses. Solo ops is intended to be a quick, reliable way to earn power when you have time to kill at the start or end of a session or need to complete a few objectives in a low-stress, low-commitment venue. It was never intended to be the above all best method for leveling for all player types. Right now, the speed, ease, and consistency of earning top rewards is drowning out most of the other options, especially at 400 plus. To start balancing this with other portal activities, we're using a relatively light touch. Reduced power earned for a given grade in solo ops by 1 compared to Fireteam ops, Pinnacle ops, and Crucible. Essentially, what this change does is it further hurts people with less time to spend on the game. Because, if you have a bunch of time, you're probably already 450, and, being 450, this doesn't affect you. But, however, the people who are just trying to get up to 450 as fast as they can, now they're just going to be, punished for doing so, and they're not going to be able to get to 450 as fast as anybody who already made it there. So, essentially, we're just punishing people with less time. I don't really understand that philosophy at all. And honestly, the change just gets even worse when you consider how poor of a tiering system we have in the game right now. There's currently no way to increase the tiers on any of your drops, and most casual players are getting weapons at tier 1, tier 2, maybe tier 3 if they've grinded a little bit. And spoiler alert, if you get a tier 1 weapon, you don't have enhanced perks. There is no way to get enhanced perks either. So you're basically just screwed. You literally cannot, I don't want to say you can't use that role, but let's be real, boys. Are you going to use a 5 out of 5 God roll, tier 1 weapon, no enhanced perks, or are you going to use a 3 out of 5 God roll with, enhanced perks? Most people are going to pick the 3 out of 5 with enhanced perks because you have enhanced perks. It's just going to be better for the most part. And it's just unfortunate that it works like that. Which, by the way, before anyone goes in my comments and says, oh, well, what's the odds of that actually happening? It's happened to me with Solemn Remembrance. I'll show you guys this roll right here. Damn near perfect. Guess what? I don't have enhanced perks because I was just unlucky and got it to drop at a tier 1 instead of like a tier 2 plus. But apparently that's my fault. My fault, my bad. I didn't spend enough time doing solo ops before I got that drop. So yeah, I guess that one's on me. If you genuinely can't comprehend how bad of a system that is, I have no idea what to tell you. All I'm going to say is, hey, if y'all see those people in the comments, smile and wave because you are witnessing mental illness and those people have zero clue what they're talking about. Oh yeah, and you know what, boys? While we're still on the topic of stupid changes, let's talk about these reward multiplier changes right here, because it's about to get even worse. Well, to be fair, it gets a little bit better, and then it gets a lot worse, so let's just read through these. Reward multiplier changes. We are changing the reward multiplier to use account highest power rather than equip power to determine the basis of the multiplier. This applies to PvP in the portal also. You will still need to have new or featured armor on to get up to a 10% scoring bonus. No swapping at the end of the activity, however. We track this for the whole time. No, y'all don't. I'm calling cap on that point right now. I know I'm kind of interrupting the whole reading thing, but y'all do not track that shit. Like, I've been swapping my armor for years and getting rewarded, so I highly doubt that. But either way, there are 5 new portal score boosters in the Ash and Iron reward pass, but you don't lose your score boost if you get them. The reclamation, I don't even know what that means. Whatever, it doesn't matter. You still can earn 3% for each of the new boosts to 15% total score bonus. If you are already at 15% score boost, you get 10 enhancement cores instead of the boost, which I guess is good. You're able to grind materials. Honestly, those changes are not that bad. Honestly, they're really not. It's these next ones that really kind of shit on the whole process. Loadout restrictions. When we launched the Edge of Fate, we were worried about the effects of loadout swapping in the portal with Armor 3.0. So we significantly increased the scoring value for locked loadout, making it very advantageous to play with it. This made it a bit too easy to earn good scores in expert difficulty, comparing to adding banes and challenges and actually making the activity harder. We are bringing locked loadout back down to where we originally imagined it and are opening up some design space for new loadout modifiers. We're adding a new loadout player state called Touche, crazy name, Mudgy, which combines locked loadout and avant-garde restrictions as well as the scoring for both. We're also adding a selection of new loadout restrictions modifiers alongside these, starting at the expert tier. Now, I'm no rocket scientist by any means, but you guys probably picked up exactly what I did from that, and that is the fact that things like solo ops are now going to be less rewarding than they were before the update, and they are going to be harder because you can't just slap on locked loadout and get up to the max reward pretty much now. Which, basically, once again, that just punishes people who didn't spend hundreds of hours hitting 450 already. So, guess what? More casual players? Sorry guys, y'all are being punished. Which, by the way, I know I have to address this because there's always going to be that one pure dumbass in the comments talking about, oh, well, it's not that much harder. How does it really affect it? Here's the thing. All right, I can't even believe I even have to address that, but I just know it's going to be there. It's going to take longer. And if your runs are taking longer, you get less rewards over time. I know, hard, very crazy concept to understand, but less rewards, worse rewards overall. Yeah, it's not really great for the game, in my opinion. Also, I really don't know how I forgot to mention it up to this point, but Encore, Star-Crossed, and Whisper also got nerfed. So if you're farming those exotic missions and you think, hey, it's just solo ops getting nerfed, I'm in the clear. No, you're not. No, you're not. Because Encore, you now have 2 chests. You now have 2 chests from the end game, 2 chests from the mid activity, and then Star-Crossed is 1 engram, and the mid activity chest is reduced to 1 as well. And then Whisper just had the mid activity chest completely removed. So yeah, you're definitely not in the clear. You're not escaping this one, buddy. Now, by no means is that the end of the bad things in the TWAB or TWID, whatever y'all want to call it at this point. It's still a little bit confusing to me. But that's what I'm going to talk about, because most of the other stuff has, it's pertaining to the epic raid. I'm not a big raider, so I don't want to, talk about stuff that I don't know that much about. But I know people were kind of complaining about like having, I think it was like not swap on. People were saying it's going to ruin it. Whatever, you guys can debate that in the comments. Like I said, I'm not going to talk about it too much because that's not really my place. What I do know though, however, is Bungie finally decided to part ways with our boy Pete Parkinson, or Pete Parsons, however you say his name. This dude has been an absolute shit stain on the Destiny community for the last, I don't know how many years, just making the worst possible changes and completely driving the company into the ground whilst driving his supercars out of there and firing every employee in sight. This dude had to go. I don't even know how he was in his spot for so goddamn long. And honestly, him retiring, I think he got fired, if I'm being honest, or he was enticed to retire by Sony or Bungie, whatever it was, because clearly he was a 2-pack of ass and just was not doing a great job. However, we can't really celebrate just yet because the dude who replaced him, which I honestly forgot his name. I think it was like Justin something. I'll probably put it on the screen if I can. But the dude who replaced him happens to be, if you've been in the Destiny community for a minute now, the over-delivery guy. And yeah, if for those of you who don't know the story behind that, basically the guy was like, oh, we don't want to over-deliver, so we're going to under-deliver every single update and then, shit on the game and run into the ground. Basically, we got that guy instead of Pete Parsons. So, yeah, I don't know. We may just be completely cooked. That being said, though, that is pretty much everything I wanted to talk about in today's video. I originally wasn't even going to make this, but a lot of you guys were asking in the comments on my last video because I get it. You know what I mean? I was complaining about Edge of Fate, saying this needs to be improved, this needs to be improved, and then it got worse, so the irony was there, and some of you guys were probably laughing at that, and others were probably just genuinely curious as to what I thought. But either way, as I said, it's kind of looking cooked. Hope you guys ended up enjoying this video. If you did, make sure to leave a like and a comment letting me know what you thought. Also, if you are new around here, subscribing to the channel never hurts. It's been Gravelly. Peace.